Welcome to PH Insight. Know the force behind the flag. Whether it's warships, fighter jets, or the next big defense move, if it matters to Philippine security, it's here. In the race to modernize the Philippine Air Force's fighter fleet under its multi-role fighter acquisition program, three names dominate the conversation: America's F-16 Viper, Sweden's JAS-39 Gripen, and South Korea's KF-21 Borame. Each has its strengths, each has its marketing pitch, and each has its own set of passionate advocates. But if the Philippines truly wants a credible, combat-ready air defense force in the near term, there's one clear choice: the F-16 Viper. This isn't just about picking a plane, it's about choosing the future of the country's air defense posture. It's about what the Philippines can fly today, what it can afford to sustain tomorrow, and what will actually deter threats over the West Philippine Sea when tensions spike. And in those categories, the F-16 Viper is not just competitive, it's superior. The first and most important reality is this: the Philippines doesn't have the luxury of waiting a decade for its MRF program to bear fruit. The territorial situation in the West Philippine Sea is already tense. China's People's Liberation Army, Navy and Air Force are rapidly expanding their capabilities. Every year that passes without a credible fighter force is another year the Philippines is operating blind and vulnerable in its own territory. The KF-21 Borame, while exciting on paper, is still a prototype. Its first flight was in July 2022, and while development is progressing, full operational capability is projected no earlier than 2032. That's a long wait for an airframe that hasn't yet proven itself in combat or large-scale operational service. The Gripen, on the other hand, is available now, but availability isn't the only factor. Its production is slower, its network of regional users is limited, and most importantly, its combat record is minimal. While it's a competent fighter, it has not been stress-tested in the same way as the F-16 in high-intensity, modern combat scenarios. The F-16 Viper. It's combat-proven, in service with dozens of air forces, and available for delivery sooner than the KF-21 could even reach production maturity. The PAF could start taking delivery within just a few years of contract signing, allowing for faster integration into the force. One of the most persuasive arguments for the F-16 Viper is that it already has decades of operational history in real wars, not just exercises. From the skies over the Middle East to Southeast Asia, from NATO's intervention in the Balkans to the suppression of enemy air defenses in Iraq and Syria, the F-16 has faced, and survived, modern integrated air defense systems, hostile fighter engagements, and a wide variety of mission types. Compare that to the KF-21, which has not yet flown a combat sortie, and the Gripen, which has only been used sparingly in low-threat environments such as Libya in 2011. The difference in operational credibility is staggering. The Philippines doesn't need to hope that its fighter will work as advertised under fire, it needs a jet with a proven record of surviving and winning. When the Philippines flies the F-16 Viper, it's not flying alone. It's joining an exclusive club of allied air forces that already operate the same platform, including the United States, Taiwan, Singapore, Indonesia, and several NATO countries. Training: Philippine pilots can train alongside U.S. and allied pilots using identical systems, radars, and weapons. Logistics, spare parts, maintenance expertise, and upgrades are widely available from multiple sources. Combat integration: in a joint operation, whether it's a large-scale exercise like Balikatan or a real-world contingency in the West Philippine Sea, F-16 Viper-equipped forces can share data, tactics, and even swap pilots without major compatibility issues. Neither the KF-21 nor the Gripen offers this level of deep interoperability. The KF-21 is too new and will have a small user base for years. The Gripen has some NATO interoperability, but outside of Europe, it's a niche aircraft. The F-16 Viper isn't just a slightly upgraded, old fighter, it's a thoroughly modernized platform that can hold its own against current-generation threats. TSN/APG-83 AESA radar offers high-resolution targeting, electronic warfare resistance, and long-range tracking capabilities on par with, or in some cases superior to, what the KF-21 will eventually carry. Its mission computer can handle advanced weapons integration, real-time battle data processing, and modern data link systems for network-centric warfare. Here, the F-16 Viper has a critical advantage. Because it's been in global service for decades, there's an established, cost-efficient supply chain. The Philippines won't have to depend on a single foreign supplier with limited production capacity. Here, the F-16 Viper has a critical advantage. Because it's been in global service for decades, there's an established, cost-efficient supply chain. The Philippines won't have to depend on a single foreign supplier with limited production capacity. The Gripen, while marketed as affordable, has a smaller global fleet, meaning fewer shared resources and higher risks if Saab's production slows or a political disagreement affects part supply. The KF-21, being brand new, will have teething problems and a limited spares pipeline for years after introduction. With the F-16 Viper, the PAF can tap into existing U.S. foreign military sales, FMS, channels, benefiting from bulk orders and shared logistics with other operators. This reduces downtime and keeps jets mission ready. Choosing the F-16 Viper would send a clear signal to allies, especially the United States, that the Philippines is serious about defense cooperation. This could translate into more training opportunities, more military aid, and potentially priority access to intelligence and surveillance data in times of crisis. Choosing the F-16 Viper would send a clear signal to allies, especially the United States, that the Philippines is serious about defense cooperation. This could translate into more training opportunities, more military aid, and potentially priority access to intelligence and surveillance data in times of crisis. The KF-21 would strengthen ties with South Korea, but Seoul's influence in the West Philippine Sea is far smaller than Washington's. The Gripen could offer some independence from U.S. oversight, but at the cost of reduced interoperability and political leverage in the region's most dangerous flashpoint. Supporters of the Gripen often point to its lower operating costs. This is true on paper. The Gripen is cheaper to fly per hour, but the difference narrows when factoring in mission capability. If a cheaper jet can't carry as much fuel, as many weapons, or operate as far from base, then more sorties are needed to achieve the same effect. KF-21 advocates highlight its stealthier design and future growth potential. But potential doesn't win today's battles. The Philippines can't wait for a fighter that may not be fully mature until the 2030s. And even then, the KF-21 isn't a full stealth aircraft, it's more of a low observable 4.5 generation jet, much like the F-16 Viper. The KF-21 is exciting but too far on the horizon. The Gripen is economical but limited in capability and strategic impact. The Viper, on the other hand, is here, it's proven, and it offers the Philippines both the military strength and the political backing to face the region's challenges head-on. In the skies over the West Philippine Sea, you don't want the newest toy or the cheapest option. You want the fighter that's ready, reliable, and backed by an entire network of allies. And that fighter is the F-16 Viper.